All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So I think I've proven to you over the years, or at least I shouldn't say proven, I've shown you over the years that I'm a huge Android fan, and I've definitely given you enough information on this channel to let you know that some of the things I think Android is superior at over iOS. Now, I think a lot of people measure devices not by the operating system, it seems these days. They just measure it by whatever device it is. So if you have the latest iPhone or the latest folding device, you know, you're just doing the most. You're letting everybody know you can flex well, and you got the latest one. But I think the announcements that are coming from Apple, like the leaks that are coming, it's getting interesting, and I wanted to talk about it real briefly because it's kind of like that situation where Android fans, there's always been this conversation that Android fans really do like iPhones, and they're jealous of some of the options on iPhones, and really at this point I think it's still the same conversation. It's iMessage and FaceTime and things like that. And even though Android has alternatives, I'm going to be the same as I was I'll say it the same as I have been for years, that iOS is polished, FaceTime is polished, iMessage is polished, but Google operating system has so many things that offer better experiences and just do things just as well, but it's about marketing. And so the fact that there are so many iPhones out there, it kind of gets overshadowed that there are these great functionalities and features on Android that do the same thing. A lot of people talk about ecosystem, like, oh, it's integrated so well. Jay, you're wearing an Apple Watch and you're doing Android videos. I've always had an Apple Watch. I have tons of Android watches or Android based watches, and Amazfit being my top of the line. This is currently, I have all the Amazfits, but this one is currently, the GTR 4 is currently the best Amazfit on the market. And I just think it's one of the best watches being offered too. And you really should give it a try, whether you have Android or iOS. Now, to confirm, on iOS, you can't. I haven't been able to reply directly to text messages. That's something I wanted to point out before I get into this Apple conversation. But you can reply on Android, because it uses the Android messaging apps. If you're on Android and you have any other messaging app, you probably won't be able to reply to messages on that either. You'll need to install the Google messaging app, and you'll be able to respond to messages and everything with any Amazfit watch. Now, Apple. Some people are saying that when the new iPhone 15 comes out, there's a lot of rumors of it having a 15 Ultra. And the reason people equate this to be somewhat true is because they feel like the Ultra name is already kind of taken by Apple. And so why not do a 15 Ultra? So here's my thoughts on it. I'm not against that. And a question keeps coming up, Jay, which is your favorite? Like, which one do you really like the most? And I like both operating systems. I like all these phones I use. I currently use a Z Fold 4. I have the burgundy joint right here, and I have the iPhone 14 Pro Max as a device too. And then I have my Pixel 6a, which is way over there. I don't want to bend off camera and get it, but Pixel 6a. I have 3 phone numbers. I use those regularly, and that's just my life right now. I've always had at least 2 numbers, and I had to add another one on. Don't say things like, well, why? Obviously, I'm doing more things than you, more than likely, if you think I'm doing too much. But nonetheless, Apple. If there is a new iPhone 15 Ultra, all right, first thing I got to say is, regardless of my stance on Android, because like I said, I'm a huge Android fan. I don't have as many iPhones as I do Androids devices, iOS devices, as I do Android devices. There are some things I think do work better on iOS devices. That's not a secret. I've said that for years. And there's a lot of things I think work great on Android. So that's why I need both, especially when it comes to certain websites. I've been saying the same thing. You've heard me say it before. But if in fact Apple does do a iPhone 15 Ultra, and then these Pro models with this new dynamic island and everything become like the regular, like this is now, like right now, the 14 Plus and the 14 are the next iPhones in line. And so there's no more minis. And good thing we still have some minis, because those are officially like a collector's item now until they break. And they're being used too. But what's going to happen next year when Apple decides to take all of the functionality for the 14 Pro Max and the 14 Pro and just give it to the 15? I don't feel like, and I'm going to get into the discussion of Type-C and things like that, because I'm going to address some of these rumors that are out there. Because remember, folks, they're all just rumors at this point. I don't feel like Apple's going to just do away with the Lightning port. They have too much going on with the Lightning port, and it brings them too much revenue. And people tend to say that Apple's a greedy company. I used to say that at one point too. But how can I be? I've grown to love the things that Apple have my experiences with Apple, I should say. I've grown to love them, and I'm pretty excited about it. You know, I'm happy that I'm finally, like, the 13 Pro Max is the one that did it for me. Everybody has that iPhone experience where you know, you shift to, you say, you know, I really do respect this. And of all the iPhones I've had in the past, I think the iPhone 13 Pro Max is the one that really, like, took me over the limit to say, you know what, this is actually pretty dope. So that is something that, you know, some people probably were shocked about, but I'm not shocked. I think that it's a huge plus for a person like me who's dedicated to Android, who was dedicated to BlackBerry. Giving Apple a chance. I've actually been pretty hard on Apple over the years, and giving them a chance was the best thing I did for myself, because it brings me closer to family members, because nearly everybody, or everybody in my immediate family, like wife on backwards to children, all stuff, they all have iPhones. Wife has pretty much every phone I have except for the Z Fold 4. She has every new phone. She just doesn't have the Z Fold 4. She wants one though. So don't be surprised if I do an unboxing of another one. But different color though, different color. The fact that Apple may do that, like when we talk about the 14, I remember when the 13s were here, and I was talking about how Apple's going to give all the good features to the Pro models. I didn't know this for sure, but I think most of us kind of follow along, and we could pretty much guess, you know what I'm saying, like this is what it's going to be. But it turns out they did exactly that. They gave basically the 13 lineup to the 14s, and the Pro lineup gets all the features. I mean, the dynamic island, folks, let's be clear. The dynamic island is tight. It's a good look for iPhone users. It's a good look. It's a beautiful thing, man. We're not going to shine on this. There's so much more than just music going up there. You can do GPS goes up there. Yeah, Bluetooth stuff goes up there. Everything goes up there, and it's just a good look. It's a hot look, folks. It's a good freaking thing that they did this. The iPhones needed something, because we still have this same old design, and you know, hey, and I'll say we, even though I'm not really pro Apple like that yet. I'm pro Apple for everything but their phones. I guess I can say that. But I've been recently giving them their props, because remember the 13 Pro Max was my go-to top-down shot phone for video. So I'm not gonna hate on Apple for that. They have fantastic video cameras, but other phones do too. Check out my video review of the Z Fold 4's cameras. People are shocked at some of the photos I'm putting out from that device. And I shot the entire video, pretty much like 95% of that video was done on the device, but I want to close out and show the device, that beautiful color in the end. But check that video out if you haven't already done so. It's up. Z Fold 4, closer look at the cameras. So if Apple does go forward with this iPhone 15 Ultra, the main rumor that a lot of people are talking about is Type-C. Now, we know what happens when they go Type-C. They know what happens. It opens up the door to people won't have to rely on, you know, and I say this with all due respect, there are Apple consumers out there that only buy Apple products. And so they're actually buying Apple's so-called fast chargers. And they're getting hit hard when there's so many other companies that are pushing out big time superchargers that you can buy at anywhere, Amazon, anywhere. You can get them anywhere, eBay, online, through Rinky, everybody, Anchor, they all have fast chargers that are faster than Apple's and they cost less. So if Apple goes type C, that opens the door to them getting their phones charged. I don't think Apple's going to go crazy like a lot of people do, but I think they'll get to the point where you can get some real fast charging and have your iPhones charged in about hour or less. That's what I'm looking for. When they go type C, I want to be able to charge my phone in an hour or less. I'm seriously looking for that. I really would like that, because this phone doesn't charge in an hour or less. It's even with my fast charger, it still doesn't charge really fast like what I'm used to on other devices. I've got phones to charge from 0 to 100 in 20 minutes. That's ridiculous, folks. And then some of the other phones go from 0 to like 80 in 15 minutes, and then it trickle charges a little bit, but still, you want them to go type C so you can stop carrying around a lightning cable. It's lame at this point. So if they do for the iPhone 15 Ultra, because I don't know they're going to do that for any of the other iPhones, because that's just too much revenue for them, I think it's going to be a plus. I'm hoping that they do, and think about this. We just got the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, and the 14 lineup just came out like less than a month ago. I mean, come on. And the rumor mill is already turning. So I like it though. I like when this happens, because it sets the groundwork for you to stay excited about a company. And really, when leaks happen, I think a lot of times people forget that the companies are the ones who's promoting these leaks. I mean, they want to keep you talking about, even if it's negative press, you're talking about them. You're making videos about them. Like right now, the rumor mill videos, they're very popular. People like technology enthusiasts love to know what's coming next. We could have the best thing in our hand, and we still want to know what's getting ready to hit next. That's just how we are. That's how life is. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. You always feel like you got to have the next best thing, whatever the next best thing is considered by you. So if in fact Apple does go type C, I'm all for it. Now the next rumor is that it could possibly start at 256 gig of storage. Stuff like that shouldn't even be a rumor, because this phone the 13 Pro Maxes, you can go all the way back to probably the 12 Max or the 11 Pro Max or 11. These phones should have had 256 gig to start. But the way Apple has been offsetting that is keeping the price the same when they're launching new versions of the device. That's their way of kind of dealing with that and letting you know, hey, this is what we're going to do for you. Simply put, this is how they're doing it. So I think it's cool that they do that. But if I'm being honest, I feel like the 256 gig on the so-called 15 Ultra, it should be 512 gigs. And I wouldn't mind. I mean, I don't want to pay a higher price, but I know I'll have to if they start the base price at a 512, the base model at the 512 gig, just to separate it from the other phones. There's been speculations of new designs. Overall, there's not been any real evidence. There's no evidence of what I'm saying now. I mean, there hasn't been any real stuff where people can actually just say, okay, here's what it is. And I like how Google did that. Eventually Google was like, look, here's our phones. They're coming out in 6 months. Sometimes you got to do it like that. Again, you talk about somebody, you talk about something enough, it's still conversation. We're talking about you. And for me, that's what Apple's doing, man. They want to be talked about. It's just that simple. And there's nothing wrong with that. In other news, I really hope that there is an iPhone 15 Ultra. It doesn't even have to be called Ultra. Just bring out a 15 with something that's different than the 14. Some people are saying, oh, I'm so glad I didn't get the 14 Pro Max. Well, the 13 Pro Max, in my opinion, the only advantage that the 13 Pro Max over this phone has over this phone right now is its battery life. This phone right here lasts me about a day and a half, Yeah, I'll stop at a day and a half. I haven't turned off always on display because I want to use it. I want to freaking use it. I mean, what's the purpose of me having all these functionality? The same rules apply for my Android phones. It just applies. I don't want to turn off features that I know I might be intrigued by. Just to save a little bit of battery. And everybody won't even save you that much battery. I mean, come on. But one thing I was kind of bummed out about is I heard that next month we're heading in. At the recording of this video, it is still September. We're at the end of September, and we're heading into October soon. And October 6th or 7th, around that time, the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro is coming. The watch is coming. Google's coming. And it's going to be a lot of heat around that time. And so with Apple doing a laptop event and an iPad event, they won't be able to compete. And so I'm not saying that's the reason that they stopped their event. I'm saying that it would be a stupid move for them to do that, knowing that a phone launch is coming. They had their moment in time already with the new iPhones. Google's getting ready to smash that time in October. Google's phones are coming October 6th, and I think their event was around that time somewhere. But it turns out some of the rumors and leaks show that they're not going to hold that event. Now, as a person who loves Apple's laptops and computers and stuff and other products more than I like their phones, I was kind of bummed out about that. I wanted to see an event on that. I mean, even though it's a smartphoneconversations.com, that's the plug, I still would have liked to have seen an event on that. I would have been pretty excited about that. So it's cool. They'll probably release a mild spec bump on the 14 and 16. Maybe they'll have the M2 Pro or something like that, and I have the M1 Pro, and I have no intentions on moving from the 14 because I like the portability. But if I were to get a 16-inch, I don't know that I'd be willing to give up my 14. That way I can have a portable MacBook all over again. Okay, now we do have the MacBook Air, but she uses that sometimes. It's still like brand new over there in the box. Thought about selling it, but it's just sitting upstairs in the other office. But sold one MacBook Air, kept the other brand new M1 version or whatever, the latest one before the M2 or whatever. It's still on the website. The one that's on the website right now, that's the one that's upstairs. But if they come out with a M2 Pro or something like that, then I might consider getting a 16 and being like really portable with my 14. My 14 will become my like on the go laptop. You know what I mean? So I might get a 16. The 16s are so ginormous, man. They're heavy, and I like the portability of the 14. So it will be very difficult for me to get rid of my 14. It would have to be something great about the 16 for me to do a trade-in or sell it. Because I sold my Mini and I sold one of my M1s, like I said, iPad Airs, and got this computer. So if the 16 comes out and I'm impressed with it enough, I'll buy it. I'm not even gonna. I'll buy it, and this 14 will be my straight up portable laptop. Now, obviously, I have like 8 laptops. They all have a place in my life. Right now, the Surface Go 2 and the Pixelbook Go. Shout out to the Pixelbook Go team. There are no more Pixelbooks, man. Oh my gosh. So if you have the Pixelbook Go, keep that bad boy. Don't get rid of it. It's got another update, so keep it. But the Surface Go Laptop 2 is the last one. I traveled to California recently, and I took that with me. It did good. Everything was fine. It's nice and portable. It's small. I would like to see Apple actually release a small version. Like if they were to go with another 12-inch laptop, I would really, really like that. A M1 12-inch or an M1 Pro 12-inch. Ooh, that would become one of my favorites, I'm sure. But they're not releasing, as of right now, the recording this video, there's no plans for a event. And I guess that's good, because I would totally be distracted with the Pixel 7 Pro, the watch, and the 7. I know I will be. So if you're an Android fan, I want to ask you this. If you're an Android fan, would you leave Android for the iPhone 15 Ultra if it brought Type-C, 2 terabyte storage? Because we're going to have 2 terabyte phones in a little bit, folks. They're going to happen. So would you leave Android for like your ultimate experience just on iOS? Would you do it? because there's a lot of people that clown the dynamic island, but then as soon as that got launched, we see people with the APK to the app. Let's keep it 100. You fronting on it. You Android users, some of y'all Android users, y'all talk a lot of trash about iOS, but then you turn right around and do that. You look ridiculous. That's all I'm gonna say about that. You look ridiculous installing that on your device after you clown Apple for doing it. But the fact of the matter is, the dynamic island is a beast mode thing, and I don't think Android phones with the processing power would even be able to have those same kind of smooth animations and things like that. I've seen some. I know the Xiaomi. I see the ones that are out there, but I just think let that be the Apple thing. Android needs their own thing. You know what I mean? So it's your man Jay. Would you leave Android and go over to Apple if the 15 Ultra was like that beast mode? Like, let me grab it. Would you leave it if it was like S22 category? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's the joys about liking both operating systems and using both. You get to pick and choose. So that's how I feel about it. I'm really hoping that Apple does bring an iPhone 15 Ultra, because I'm gonna buy it. And then in October, if the 16-inch MacBook Pro gets a discount, or like the M1 Pro, I don't think I'll buy it. But if there's an M2 Pro or something like that, and it's really intriguing, or they bring out a Mac Mini, something that's got to be really enticing, I might grab it. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. Apple fans, where you at? Android fans, that question was for you. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.